According to WalterFootball.com, the New York Jets have visited with 8 prospects that will most likely have their name called in next month's 2023 NFL Draft. I'm going to rank my favorite of the 8, taking into consideration their talent, how they'd fit with the Jets, do they fill a position of need, and the value for where they will most likely be drafted based on projections from, again, WalterFootball.com. Let's not waste any more time. Number 1, John Michael Smith, center, big boy, Minnesota, 6'4", 320 pounds. Widely considered the best interior offensive lineman in the class. This is the center we've been waiting for since Nick Mangold retired. In my opinion, when the Jets traded Elijah Moore, one of those second-round picks probably going to Green Bay. The second-round pick that they keep, in my opinion, is penciled, inked, etched in stone in for a center. Now, there's 3 centers I think that would be worth it in that spot. Will John Michael Smith be there? I don't know. You see projections of him going in the first round, but we all said that about Creed Humphrey. Creed Humphrey sliding to the late second with the Kansas City Chiefs. If he's there, maybe the Jets do what they did with Breece Hall. Swing a 5th-round pick, come up a couple of spots, and make sure you get your guy. I think he's worth it. John Michael Smith is number 1. Number 2, the young man in the thumbnail, Mazzy Smith, defensive tackle, Michigan. My goodness, an absolute monster. Bruce Fieldman made a list compiling the top 10, what he called athletic freaks in the draft class. Mazzy Smith topped the list. 6'3", 337 pounds. Bench pressed 22 reps. You're like, that's not that much for a 340-pound defensive tackle. Not of the standard 225. He did 22 reps of 325. My goodness. He close grip bench pressed, according to Feidman, 550 pounds. The broad jump, the vertical, all in the top 10 percentile for a player of his size. Now, he is a better athlete than a football player at this point. The production in terms of sacks not really there, but he's a man-eater. He's 340 pounds. I know the Jets scheme calls for defensive tackles who are a little bit lighter, better at rushing the passer, but man, get one of these big nasties next to Quinnen Williams and let's go. The Jets defense was highly rated in the top 5 in many categories last year, but rushing yards was not one of them. That's still the weakest part of the defense. He comes in and helps that immensely. Pro comp for him, think Vita Vea, a monster. Draft projections all over the place. Some say first round, some say falling to the end of the second round. Again, if the Jets somehow keep both of their second round picks, which I think is unlikely. Imagine if they got John Michael Smith and Mazzy Smith. A couple of nasties in the trenches. Unlikely, but dream scenario there. He's number 2. Moving on to number 3, Brian Branch, safety, Alabama. In my opinion, the best safety in the class by a wide margin. Projected to be a first round pick. So again, for me, he is only a Jet if they trade down. I don't think you're going safety at 13, but if there is a trade down, say like Tampa Bay at 19, if a quarterback falls by chance and they want to come up and the Jets can recoup another second round pick and then take Branch at like 19 or up to the mid 20s, that's fine. I don't think he's in the cards for 13 with the Jets. And also the Jets have a couple of pretty good strong safety types in Chuck Clark and Jordan Whitehead. I like Clark better than Whitehead, but I think Brian Branch is more of that mold. He has the athleticism to be a free safety, but I think he's more of a strong safety nickel type. At least projecting to his role in the NFL level. I think the Jets really need a true center fielding ball hawk, but I still consider safety a position of need for the Jets. And if the best player at a position of need is on the board for you, you have to consider it. That's why Brian Branch is number 3. And if this video is at all valuable to you, a thumbs up is an easy way to show it as we move on to number 4. Dwayne McBride, running back, UAB. Listen to this production. So he's 5'10", 205 pounds, 1,700 rushing yards, 19 touchdowns, over 7.4 yards per carry. My goodness. The running back room has been like, I'm good with it. I could see why they want another body. The thing is, we don't know when Breece Hall is going to be back. Maybe he's back week 1. He has an Adrian Peterson-like recovery and he just takes off right where he left off. Rushing title. Amazing. He could also maybe start on the PUP list. We just don't know. And since we don't know, and since Michael Carter looked like maybe a low-end running back year one. Last year, he looked unplayable at times. I don't know if Michael Carter was dealing with an injury, so I think the Jets could stand to add another back to the room. I would have preferred they just did it on the cheap on a 1-year deal in free agency. A mid-round pick, to me, I'd rather them spend that interior defensive line, safety, linebacker, a lot of different needs I could see with a mid-round pick, but the absurd production has him as my 4th favorite player. That's McBride. Number 5, Bryce Ford Wheaton, wide receiver, West Virginia. 6'3", 220 pounds, sub 4, 440, projected to be a 6th round pick. This is simply closing your eyes and throwing a dart at an absolute monster athlete. If you're going to take a shot in the late rounds, take a shot on a really good athlete. Joe Douglas loves himself that relative athletic score. Bryce Ford Wheaton, 9.6. Now, the Jets, they're going to need to add another wide receiver anyway because they have, 5 on the team right now. If Corey Davis goes, they're going to need to add 2 more. So he could be a guy who comes in, competes to be wide receiver 6, special teamer, maybe starts on the practice squad. That's the level of player he is. But the Jets are going to need to add some wide receivers. You don't want to add any more veterans. You're good there. You don't need to spend a ton of money. So I think a late-round pick on a wide receiver could be wise. The Jets have pick 207. Maybe that goes to Bryce Ford Wheaton. Number 6 and 7, I kind of clumped together a couple of defensive backs. Julius Brents, defensive back from Kansas State, 6'2", 200 pounds, 4.52 40-yard dash, projected to be a third rounder. I said defensive back because he played corner at Kansas State, but many scouts project him to switch to safety. Maybe the Jets do what they did with Jason Pinnock. They take a corner and they switch him over to safety. 6'2", 200 pounds, big body, not quite the speed you want at corner, but the Jets don't have a third round pick. So if he falls to the 4th round, I do think the Jets could add another safety. Ashton Davis going to the last year of his contract. I still don't think he's a guarantee to even make the roster. And behind their 2 veterans, Clark and Whitehead, there's just Davis and Tony Adams. So maybe he comes in and he replaces Ashton Davis and you restart the rookie contract clock there with Brents. The other defensive back is Jair Brown, safety, Penn State. Local kid, went to Trenton High School, 5'11", 203 pounds. Not quite the range and athleticism to play free safety. Missed tackle percentage too high to play strong safety, in my opinion. He's just a standard late round backup. And then Ventrell Miller, finally, number 8, linebacker of Florida, 5'11", 232 pounds, 4.72 40. I like about Miller is the missed tackle rate is low. 8 sacks in his career, can rush the passer a little bit. To me, with that lack of length, 5'11", because Quincy's 5'11", but Quincy runs 4'4". So that lack of length and speed, I just don't know if he has the traits to be an eventual starter in Robert Saleh's defense, but that's why he's projected to be a 5th or 6th round pick. So he is, again, maybe like a Jamie Sherwood type where you plug him in and you have a backup / special teamer on the team. Although I'm higher on Jamie Sherwood, and I was coming out of the draft than I am on Miller, but I just don't know if he has the traits to start in this scheme. There it is. Those are my top 8. Look forward to disagreeing with you in the comments below, and we'll talk Jets ball soon.